All right. Happy Wednesday. It is May 12th. And today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about purchasing a website. But I think the big takeaway here for anyone that is watching this, whether that's live or after the fact, is really what to look for in building a brand through the lens of, if I were to ever sell this, what are the important pieces that an investor would want to invest in? And whenever we're doing this, we're looking at those components, also the risk factor, removing that. And I'm going to share with you today a website that I almost bought when I first saw it, but I decided not to. And now I'm going to share that with you, but I'm also going to share with you I'm reconsidering it and not quite sure what's going to happen. But I am in talks with this company that is offering this website for sale. I'll talk about what I would do to it. I'll talk about the opportunity in it and why I would want to purchase something like this. And it also goes hand in hand with us building a brand that could be sold and looking at those core pieces, whether you're starting from zero or you're buying something that's already started and you're going to build on it. Where's their opportunity? So we'll talk about all of that stuff. I am going to turn this into a podcast episode. So I am going to start this and then stop it. And then if you have any questions, we can answer them. I will be doing some explaining. I'll actually be sharing with you the site and everything. But I'll be doing a little bit of explaining on my screen. So I'll try to be visual, even if people are listening, only listening to this. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. I have my screen ready to go. But the title of this is why I almost bought this website, why I didn't. And we're going to get into it. And I can probably come up with a better title, but that's what I went with. I told you guys that this happened about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that I spotted it and why I decided not to go through with it. But I've got some questions that are being answered right now by the company. So we'll see what happens. So stay tuned. I'll keep you posted on this. All right. So with that all being said, let me go on over and see who's hanging out with us here this morning. Not sure if the notification went out or not. What's up, Salma? Good to see you. Good morning, Brand Rockers. I'm not quite sure. It might be Octavio. He's got usually that little emoji. What's up, Noel? And good morning, Karen. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So like I said, I am going to turn this into a podcast episode. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Can you guys see that? That right on my eye there. Funny story real quick before we get into it. You can't really see it that well. But man, oh man, it's a pretty good gash. Let's see. Can you see that? Can you guys see that? Let me know in the comments if you guys can see that on my eye. Funny story. And then we'll get into this. And I wish you guys could see that better. If I get up closer, it's going to get blurry. Kind of see it. You guys see that? It's like I got punched in the side of the face. That's a good story if I said that I did. Selma says, yes, we can see it. Can't see anything. Yeah, right. So basically yesterday I was doing an interview. I was being interviewed by Nick Loper for Side Hustle Nation. And he invited me on to do a coaching call for one of his listeners that started it was a board game that they started. And you guys will hear more about that. I'm probably going to have them on the podcast. And then I'll also have, I'll probably air the interview. But anyway, so it was a pretty important interview. So I told my wife, I said, hey, I go, can you just make sure the dogs are cool? You know, make sure that they don't come in. And she said, yeah, sure. So on the outside of my door, I have this it's like a hair tie for women or for girls. And it's one of my daughters. And I always loop it around there when I'm not in my office, and I kind of hook it so that way the doors, they kind of spring back and forth a little bit, but you can't get in. Right. So I went ahead and I told my wife that. So I knew she did it, but I didn't know she did it. Right. She's like, okay, yeah. And she put the little rubber band on it. So I get up for my interview about an hour later. I get up for my interview. I go to my door and you pull it open to get out. They're two French doors. And I grabbed it and immediately felt the resistance. So I let go and the thing snapped me in the face. And I was like, what the heck just happened? And I went out and I looked in the mirror. We got a mirror kind of, right out the door here. And I looked in the mirror and there was a crease. And then all of a sudden I looked and I go, oh, wow, that's actually cut. And so I had to dab it up with some tissue and then put a little bit of, what's that? The triple minus and put that on there. And yeah, it's okay. But it's pretty good gash. You guys can see that or not? It's pretty good. Anyway, to real serious matters here. Let's get to it. It is our coffee talk. It is Wednesday. I am in a fantastic mood. It's raining out, but you know what? Life is still good. I'm going to probably sit out in the front porch after this and just chill out for about a half hour, take a break. I've been working all morning. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a website that I almost bought, and I actually still might buy this, but I'm in kind of talks with the company to get some answers. There's some unanswered questions for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to intro this as it was a podcast episode because it will air on the podcast, and then we will we'll go ahead and get this thing rocking and rolling, and I'm going to share everything with you guys. All right, so here we go. Let me go ahead and get my show notes up here or my little notes. All right, here we go. All right, today I am going to be sharing with you a website that I almost purchased, but I didn't. And since I decided to do this episode, I actually am reconsidering it. I may actually buy it. I don't know. I'll let you know. But I'm going to go through when I first spotted it, what I looked at. I looked at the numbers. I looked at the traffic. I looked at where the traffic was coming from. I looked at all of the assets that it had. And then there was something that made me immediately say, no, I'm not purchasing this website. And it is something that I encourage you to look for if you're ever considering buying a website, because you got to understand when we're building a brand, we're building a lot of traffic assets. Okay. And we like to diversify those assets as well. And the way that you diversify them is number one, we do have a variety of different pieces of content. Okay. That's one way to diversify. So if Google's giving us traffic, we're going to diversify it. So it's not just one piece of content, not one article. Okay. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is going on different search engines. So getting picked up by Yahoo and Bing and any of the other ones, maybe having some Pinterest traffic that's coming in. That's another traffic channel, right? So all of these things we're going to look at. Now, if they're not there, it doesn't mean that you wouldn't still want to purchase this site or you wouldn't want to build a site, but it does help to reduce the risk. Because if we're looking at buying a website that is dependent on one channel, just like if you're selling products on Amazon, you're selling products on Etsy, and that's your one main channel, that's risky to an investor. And I want you to always be thinking about when you are building your website, building your brand, diversification all across the board. But there are things that we can see that if a site is being sold and we see that, oh, they're not using Pinterest, we could do that. Oh, they're not, using YouTube. Maybe that's an opportunity. Or, oh, they're not building an email list. Oh, that's an opportunity. So we also want to find ways that this thing can grow. Okay. Not just, oh, it's already working. Everything is perfect. And we're just going to sit back and let it kind of crank along, which you can do that. The site that I'm going to share with you was advertised as making $1,250 per month. And that was for the last 6 months. And the full year was not that. I think the first 6 months might have been $200 and then maybe $500. So the last 6 months is what they're basing it off of, which you never really want to base your decision off of 6 months. You want to base it off of the trailing 12. But I wanted to share this with you because I am always looking for opportunities for myself to purchase a piece of real estate like this, okay? And I always use this as an example. I want you to think about this. If you were to buy a rental house, okay, a rental property, okay, a single family home. I've owned several of them. Right now, I only own one. It's an Airbnb. It's not a month-to-month lease. I don't like them because you're limited on how much you can make with that. But let's just say, for example, you were to look for, and this is what I'm, again, considering. Let's say I have $150,000. Even if I was going to mortgage that, even if I was going to borrow the money on that, I'm going to borrow I'm going to buy a property for $150,000. I might put $10,000 into it, get it ready, and then I'm going to rent it out. And the rent is going to cover the mortgage, the taxes, all of the expenses. And if I can cash flow maybe $150 to $250 per month netting, that is, and the house is being paid down, usually that's a good thing, right? That's a good deal. And then after 10 years, you build up equity. You might be able to pull some equity out, right? Or if it's the long game, maybe you want to just hold it for 30 years. I personally don't want to hold something for 30 years to cash out because, hey, who knows? Let's be real here. 30 years is a long time. I'm going to be 49 this year. I don't want to wait that long. Okay. And who knows? Okay. I mean, I'm hoping I'm going to make it, but who knows, right? I don't want to wait. So I'm always looking for like 10-year spurts, like little 10-year things right now in my life. If I was 23, different story. I'd be thinking maybe 30 years. So now I want you to think about that. $150,000 is what we could invest into a single family home. And then we'd have to get a tenant. We'd have to deal with that tenant. We might have to get a management company, have all the expenses, and I might net $150 to $250 in my pocket every single month and hoping that nothing goes wrong. And if it does, it's got to come out of the $250, right? That's usually what we're looking at here. When we're looking at online real estate, okay, in this example right here there's a site that I'm looking at that was 40,000. I think it just got reduced to 39,000. So let's just call it 40,000. $40,000, and it's passively bringing in $1,250. $40,000 investment, $1,250 in passive income, meaning, if I don't do anything to the site, it should stay there, or at least that's what I'm going to validate. That's what I'm going to verify. Okay. So after 3 years ish, that property would be paid off and everything would be positive. The risk is, what if the traffic sources go away? What if the affiliate programs go away? What if something goes wrong, right? Same thing happens with a rental. If you can't rent it out, if you have to evict someone, and all these things. So there's risk in anything that we do. But I could buy one of those sites for a quarter or even less than that of what I could buy a rental property, and I could potentially just sit on it. Okay. So I'm always looking at that. Now I'm building 2 case study brands inside of the academy right now that I'm looking to get to. Well, one of them's at about $1,000 a month, but let's just call it, I'm trying to get them to $1,000 to $2,000 passively. Okay. But then I can do exactly what I'm looking at doing myself here is I could purchase it, I could sell it and then cash out. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the site that I'm looking into, the one that I originally was not going to buy. Now I'm reconsidering it because I'm getting some answers back, and we're going to see where this goes. And who knows, maybe I'll just put an offer in. It's a lot like buying a piece of property. If they're asking 40, maybe they'll take less. All right. And I did sell our e-commerce brand. So I understand how the process works. On a physical product business, way different. You have inventory to deal with. You have all of that stuff to deal with, the supply chain. On a digital website like this, a digital online piece of real estate, it's different. Okay. A little bit easier too, by the way, because you don't have all of the logistics stuff to deal with. All right. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I am going to be sharing my screen here. So if you're listening to this on the podcast and you want to see the visual, to see me walk through and really point out where I found the concerns, but also where I see opportunity and all of that stuff. If you want to see that, then I would go to the show notes to this episode. All right. And then on the website, brandcreators.com, and then I will embed that video in there. I am doing this on our coffee talk right now. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, Obviously, it's not live, but I am doing this live for our coffee talks. Another reason why you want to hang out with us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you can do that by heading over to takeactioncrew.com. Again, that's takeactioncrew.com. And then what I'll do is I'll open it up for Q&A at the end, and people can ask questions. I can answer them. So with that all being said, let's go ahead and let's dig in. All right. And like I said, I spotted this probably around 2.5, 3 weeks ago. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get to it. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what it was. The name of the website is Ballersguide.net. All right. Ballersguide.net. Now, the reason why this caught my attention was because I have a son who's 23. Is he 23 now? No, he's 20. Yes, he just turned 23. 23. Can't keep track. So 23 years old. He is big into basketball. He does vertical training. He's got a vert machine. He plays basketball, at the Y. He plays rec. He plays pickup. He's always around basketball, always loves basketball. And I know that in his future, he will be doing something related to basketball, whether it's his own training, whether it's his own digital online courses. There will be that. He's going to college. He's actually let's see, when is he graduating? I think after this semester. And that will be in physical education, but he knows that he has a lot more potential in the online space because, well, I raised him and he understands what you can do digitally and online and reach people all over the world. But the teaching thing is like a passion thing for him, which is great. So whenever we're looking at something, I'm always like, okay, does this make sense for me personally? And the thing is for me, it does in a sense, because I know that we could technically add content to this because he would be the one doing it, right? He would be the one to be able to add some content. So I would have someone that could create content right out of the gate, someone that knows this market and all of that stuff, right? So that's why this I'm always looking at sites. It brought it to me. I'm like, you know what? This could work. Okay. So let me just see here 1 second. I'm trying to show my screen. I'm making sure I have to reconnect this real quick, guys. Bear with me. All right. We're reconnected. We should be anyway. All right. I'm going to actually pause this here for a second and make sure that you guys can see me. I'll just do this in post. I'll edit it. You guys see me okay and hear me okay still? And I'm going to wait just 1 second. Looks like I'm still broadcasting. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Tech issue. Let's see. Here we are. Okay. Looks like we still have. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Top of the morning, Diamond. Yes. Barry says you have a hacker in the chat. Yeah, Karen, I did see that too. So I'm trying to get rid of that. Man, that's Facebook for you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and continue here that you guys said that you can still see me and everything. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on. All right. So let's kind of take a look at this site. Now, again, if you're listening to this, this is going to be more of me explaining it. It's a very, very basic website, ballersguide.net. And the first thing that you'll notice is in the nav, in the menu, it says equipment, and then best basketballs, best hoops, best training aids. Then it says apparel, accessories, basketball shoes, basketball shorts, and then about us, contact, privacy policy, right for us, and then learn the game. About the game, backyard hoops, facts, basketball culture, and strategies and tactics. So that's the core of what is being published. Okay. Now it's a very, very basic homepage, not much to it. So we know that we could definitely add to this and make this even better. Okay. So what I'm going to do here though, is I'm going to go over to the listing. Okay, now this listing is in motioninvest.com. I'm not affiliated with them. I do know Spencer Hawes, who actually is part owner, I believe, in this company. Yeah, it's just a site that I have that I've known about for about 2 years now. I think they started about 2 years ago, and it's really for websites that are under the, I would say, $300,000 at this point mark. And there's some sites that are selling for $5,000-$6,000. They might be making a couple $100 a month. All right. So this is it here, Ballersguide.net. Now this here, this is really important. This says 4 years and 1 month old basketball equipment and apparel website making $12.99 per month via Amazon affiliate and Mediavine in the last 6 months is being sold via our marketplace. Now, 4 years and 1 month, I did a little search on this in the Wayback Machine, and it only shows that it's been published on since 2020. So only for a year, May of last year. So just about a year. So this here was a little bit of a red flag for me. I'm like, wait a minute, 4 years, 1 month. Now, is that how old the domain is? That was the domain purchased? So I need to get clarification on that. All right. But in the very beginning of looking at this, I'm like, this looks good. I like this. Okay. So we have $12.99 profit per month, 17,102 visitors per month. The domain authority is a 20. The articles posted is only 63 articles. And they're, let's see, articles posted times 30 is what it's saying. So yeah, so 30, whatever that means. Okay. Next price drop will be, so it's a Dutch auction, which basically means after a certain amount of time, the price gets lowered. Overview of the site. This basketball equipment and apparel review website has been around for just over 4 years and 1 month. So again, I need to get clarification. Has the content been out there that long, or is it just the domain has been purchased and parked? Site is ranking for 7,985 plus keywords and some good buyer intent keywords. Site is experiencing an upwards trend in traffic. Popular niche with room for future growth and development. Limited work has been applied to the site, offering upside opportunity. Site is currently monetized via Amazon and Mediavine, providing diversified income channels. So basically 2 income streams, okay? They show you some screenshots of their traffic. This is for a year, 283,000 page views. So they're giving us page views on that one there. And then this here, their top article is Basketball for Beginners, History of Basketball. And then their second one is Best Portable Basketball Hoop Reviews. And then the third one is Best Indoor and Outdoor Basketball Review. So these are all good, right? They're all kind of spread out. They've got some good traffic numbers. That all looks good. Okay. Now they give you also a little, just a little spreadsheet here of like the traffic, like April of 2020 had 32,769. If we move to March 2021, it's 23,282. So it's went down some. So that kind of makes sense a little bit, because sometimes in the summer, people, are starting to look to buy basketball hoops, but basketball season really for kids in school isn't until like October, November, right? So that's when I would see that there should be a spike. Now we're getting into the proof of income. Here we have April of 2020. Amazon income was $1,606.88. Mediavine was $397. And in May was $2,232.70 for Amazon, and then $272 in Mediavine. Now this is kind of all over the place, because then it goes in June to $917.42 for Amazon. July is $921.88. August, $767.77. September, $718.28. So you can see, a lot of what they're basing on is the last 6 months. Okay. Because we have March, February, January, December, November, October. Is that 6 months? Yeah. October was only $599.60 for Amazon. November, $879.14. December, $1873. January, $638. So I would not want to base my purchase price on this here. Personally, when you're selling a business, you want to show like at the very minimum of what that is making. So if you were to collectively add all of these together, divide them, yes, you could say that's your monthly, right? And I did not do that here. I could do that here on the fly. But I can do it. So $12,968 for Amazon, and then $3,389 for Mediavine. So let's see, what does that look like? So 12,968 plus 3,389 we're at 16,357 for the year. Okay. Now, if that was the case in a year and this site was selling for 40 grand, you're looking at like a year and a, or no, 2.5 years before you'd get your money back if you left it as is. And if that stayed true. Okay. But let's divide that by 12. It's 1363. All right. And 1363, they're doing I believe a 30x multiple on that. Okay. Which is a little high. But if we just took the 16, let's just call it 16,000 times 3. Yeah, that would be a 48,000 if you did a 3x. Now they're not doing that. So they are trying to be fair about their evaluation. My concern is in this case for the revenue is it's kind of all over the place. All right. And I would like Mediavine to be higher. And the reason why it's not is because the traffic is not as high. Okay. They do give you some Mediavine snapshots here. And this is what I'm looking at when I'm kind of evaluating the Mediavine side of things here is their RPMs. Their RPMs are per thousand. So if you were to base this off of that, you're like, okay, that's not bad. $15 is like what it was on that one day, but it's averaging at $13.87. If you have 1,000 people that visit the site a day, you'd make $13 a day, $13.87, but that can fluctuate. But the thing is there's opportunity that if you went to a different network, if you went to AdThrive, even Ezoic in some cases, what if we could take that RPM and make it $20? We instantly increase the revenue. So that is a good opportunity here to look at. And it's not really bad RPMs. I would like them a little bit higher though. Okay. So that's Mediavine. But again, that's not what made me, okay. That's not what made me say, you know what? I don't like this about this particular website. Okay. And I'm going to get right to it. All right. If we go here where it says Q&A with seller, okay, it gives you like basic questions. What would you do to grow the site? And they say, I would update the existing content, add more affiliate review content, and build links to the site. Okay. That's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's things that I would do right away. I'd build an email list if you don't have an email list around basketball. Secondly, I would add Pinterest to this. There's no Pinterest traffic at all to this. So I would immediately do that. And I would definitely up the content game. I would add more content. All right. So there is that opportunity, and there's not even any YouTube here. So that could be a play as well. Who would this business be perfect for? Either someone who wants to hold it passively or use the site as a foundation and invest in growing it. Okay, good. What has been your biggest struggle with the site? Due to the size of our portfolio, the biggest issue has been finding the time to work on the site. Okay, that's fair. What is included with the site? The domain and all the website files. Okay, that's cool. How much time do you spend on the site? What tasks do you do? I currently spend no time on the site. It has sat dormant for a number of years. Again, talking number of years, although I did a Wayback Machine to see when the first piece of content was published, and it was in May, I believe, of 2020. So again, you need clarification on that. That makes me say, okay, well, why? Why am I not seeing content that was published back in if it's 4 years ago, like 2016? You know, why am I not seeing that? Here's another concern of mine. Do you outsource the content? If yes, are you able to pass along the writer? No, I have not added any new content to the site in a number of years. Again, a number of years. So you're stating that you've published content a number of years ago. Why am I not seeing that? Again, makes me question the numbers. Okay. And then this last one, this is really what said no to me. This site currently has 33 PBN domains pointing to it. These PBN domains are owned and hosted in our account and will be included in the sale. If you do not know what a PBN is, it's a private blog network. What does that mean? Years ago, what the strategy was in order to give yourself good backlinks is you would build a cluster, a little blog network that you owned. And then you would publish some content on each of these. These are now your pieces of real estate. And then you would point these websites, these links to your main website. Basically, you are pointing to your own stuff. Okay. Now the problem with this, and this can be done with doing it right. You can legitimately do this. Okay. There's nothing wrong with it. If you own these sites and these sites are pertaining or they're newsworthy news sites and they make sense, it totally can work. And there's no problem with that. But if those pages are ranking because there are backlinks pointing to those websites and Google does an update and gets rid of those backlinks and the juice that it's supplying, I would lose traffic. And if I lose traffic, what happens to the revenue number? It goes down. So what I don't like here is that the traffic, two things I don't like. The traffic is coming from content that was published and is being linked to by an internal link network. So when I see PBN, I'm like, no, I don't like that. It's risky to me. Now, if they come back to me and go, oh, these private blog networks, they're actually real sites that we build out, that we're running all the time. But the question here is, it says these PBN domains are owned and hosted in our account and will be included in the sale. The sites will be included in the sale, or the links will be included. If the links are included, then I'm dependent on that site staying, again, in good standings. Because if that site gets hit, then my site gets hit, right? So that's a huge red flag for me. And that takes that investment amount for me, it brings it down. Because if I'm going to risk that, I'm not risking $40,000 on something that my traffic can go away tomorrow. And then all the revenue goes away tomorrow. And then what am I going to do with a website that doesn't have links pointing to it, that my content just disappeared overnight? Now, could I get those links back or some new links and try to do that? I could, but then once you get dinged on Google, a lot of times you kind of got a ding and it's hard to get that back. So that's a red flag for me. That's a red flag. Now, if they said that those sites, like I said, those sites are legit sites that they own, and I would have to look at all of those links, all of the domains that are being pointed there. I would have to have someone do it and actually go through and scrape and say, these are okay. They're in okay standing with Google. There's really not any problem with these. I would have to be proven that, or at least validated that that's the case before I would roll the dice on that. Because you're talking 2.5 years that site would have to continue to do what it's done in the past year in order for me to recoup my investment. Okay. Now, could I, in the meantime, continue to build, fresh content, get, other articles featured on other sites and get my own backlinks? Totally. Right. But we've never done private blog networks on any of the sites that we've ever built. The one that we sold recently, our e-commerce brand that had a blog along with it that was getting anywhere from 150,000 to 250,000 page views per month, zero outreach for link building, and zero private blog networks. It was all by people linking to it because it was good content. The two sites that we're building inside the academy, one of them is over 70,000 page views per month. The other one is approaching 50,000. Zero backlinking strategy, zero reaching out for a backlink trade, any of that stuff. It's 100% white hat. This here teeters on the line of gray hat because it was done purposely. Right? It was done because they wanted the link to point there from a piece of property that they own. Okay. So that's the big red flag for me. Now, with that all being said, I did submit an email with these concerns and with this contradicting statements of, currently spend no time. The site has been dormant for a number of years. But why am I not seeing content that was published a number of years ago? So it's kind of like I'm kind of catching you in a little bit of a lie, or misrepresentation of what you're stating. If you are selling a website, you need to be crystal clear on that stuff, and that there draws a question in my mind. All right. So again, if we look at here too, though, I'm just going to go into the backlinking analysis. So you can see here, it does give you all of the backlinking, the do follows, the no follows, and all of this stuff and where they're coming from, the health of them. It does give you all that stuff, but I would need to really see all of those. And if you see here, it says UR rating of 20 and DR rating of 35 domain. So 35. Site has 365 referring domains. 160 of the referring backlinks are do follow. The site has 1,268 backlinks with a UR rating of 0 to 10 and 88 backlinks with a UR rating of 11 to 20. All right. And then they give you the SEM rush data, shows you the ones that are keywords that are ranking, your authority score, majority of traffic's coming from the US. It gives you all of that stuff. So I love the idea of, taking the site, building it out, really giving it a little bit of a facelift, cleaning it up, maybe even speeding it up, doing some things that would improve it. But with that all being said, there are some questions in my mind, right? I'm going to also pull it up in Ubersuggest here because I think this is interesting. So it says for organic monthly traffic through Ubersuggest, it says it's getting 14,131 last month. Okay. So if I go here, 14,131, and I'm just showing this, if you guys are listening, I'm just showing the graph. In March, it was 18,753. In February, it was 18,206. January was 27,000. December was 26,000, which makes sense. And it was 20,000 in November. So that makes sense. October was 15,000. So then it goes up and then it drops a little bit. Totally understandable. It's saying domain authority of 21, backlinks of 1428. So that's all public. This is all, through Ubersuggest and what they're scraping. Organic keywords is 21,543. It says good. Now, if I look at the content that it is ranking for, best indoor and outdoor basketball reviews 2021, our faves. Now, again, that post says 2021. But it says they haven't updated the site in years. That makes me question. Like, what do you just said you weren't updating the site, but this is saying 2021. Here's another one. Best portable basketball hoop reviews 2021, our top picks. This one here, a brief history of basketball, summary of the game's origin. Best in-ground basketball hoop reviews 2021, top 10 picks. Best women's basketball shoes 2021, top rated reviews. So a lot of these are product-based. I like that, okay? But said that they weren't updating the site. It looks like it was updated, okay? And actually, I can even go to that, I think. Yeah. So I can go to that post and kind of scroll through it. It's just a bunch of basketballs and the reviews on it. It looks like a pretty beefy post. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's a good post. All right, now let's check this out. So if I go down to the SEO keywords, basketball referee technically gets 60,500. That's the volume of that keyword. And this site is in position 4 already, getting about 982 visits per month from that keyword. Basketball history, 8,100 is the estimated search volume. Position number 4, getting 534 visits. Best portable basketball hoop. That's a great keyword. 4,400 searches per month. They're ranking number 2. So really good positions here. Best basketball indoor, outdoor, ranking number 1. Best in-ground basketball hoop. 2,900 searches, ranking number 3. Best indoor, outdoor basketball, best outdoor, indoor basketball, women's best basketball shoes, ranking number 1 for those, getting some traffic. So these are some really, really good keywords. And if you're noticing one thing here that I really like, it's best. It's starting with best. So one takeaway, if you're not creating content, best bass fishing lures 2021, right? Like you should start creating them. People search for best, right? Best in-ground basketball hoop, best indoor, outdoor basketball, and all of those things. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys because this is a site that I'm still considering, but I think it's a good lesson for you guys to see, number one, that when you're building a site, this is why we do not want to, really go gray hat. We do not want to take shortcuts so we can rank a site because then it leaves question with an investor or even with the stability of the site itself. Okay. Because if Google does not like those backlinks, it can get rid of the backlinks, which then takes your rankings and makes your rankings drop. Okay. So you got to be careful with that. The other thing is, I think this is a good example of showing you like what I look at, right? I'm looking at the traffic source or sources. I'm looking at products that are being sold, the affiliate commissions. I'm looking at Mediavine. So this is another ad network that we can use and probably get better. We could also improve on the content and get more traffic, right? Which then would bring everything up. Okay. So these are the things we look at. Now, they're not building an email list. I would probably start building an email list immediately. I would start Pinterest immediately. Those are two things I would do right out of the gate. Probably create a couple of guides for basketball for kids, because I think that the kids are probably the ones that are searching for this, or the parents of the kids. And then to get a guide or something along with it, I think would be a good lead magnet, but also a good, it would probably be a good digital product as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here. And I like this one because it resonated with me because I have a son that's into basketball and someone that also coaches and teaches it. So it really resonated with me. And that's what I'm always looking for too, is like, how easy is this going to be for me to maintain? And would this be a good investment? Whether it's me building a site from scratch or buying something that's already started. So hopefully this has been useful. And yeah, stay tuned. I'll probably do an update on this and let you know what happens next. So we'll call this part 1. And we'll do another follow-up episode on this. If you are interested in hanging out with us, talking more about this stuff, then I would definitely recommend heading on over to takeactioncrew.com, and you can do that. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here next. Is I'm going to go over to the live feed and I'm going to start answering some questions if we have any. But if you're here live, you're going to be able to do that. But if you're not, hang tight. I'm going to go ahead and probably air that part of it too. But hopefully this has been helpful. All right. Hopefully this has been helpful. All right. So, all right, let's go ahead and see what we got for any questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and let's go ahead and see what we got here. All right. We have a question right here. All right. Would you always recommend building your own website first? Pros and cons, buying a website versus building. Okay, it really comes down to, I believe it comes down to, for me, is how much capital and how much do you know about building out a brand, okay? Because there's two things you need. One, you need capital to buy it, right? So you, in this case, let's just say you would need $40,000 to buy it. And then secondly, you would also need the skill set to maintain it and build it out, right? So you are going to shortcut this. So if you were to, again, take $40,000, however you got it, if you borrowed the money, if you had the money in savings, like whatever, and I'm not saying to do that by any stretch of the imagination. I do not want people to go out there and borrow money if they're not comfortable doing this. But you have to look at it as, you have this piece of property, it's already bringing in revenue, but is that revenue safe? Meaning, are you pretty sure that it's going to continue? And that's why I poked holes in this, so I could say, okay, wait a minute here, there's a problem that I'm not comfortable with. And until I get answers, I wouldn't move forward with it, right? So it is going to be faster if you can invest in a website that's already got some momentum, that's already got the bones. But if you don't have the capital, it's going, you can still do it. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. So in order to get this site to where it is, in traffic, that is, it probably took at least a year. Okay. So you would need to, so you're shortcutting a year and there's already revenue being brought in. So it's proven. So now you can kind of start bringing the revenue back in, reinvesting it, and then building the site out more and kind of scaling everything out. So hopefully that answered that question. Would you ever buy a site if you see no potential to increase the monthly income? Probably not, unless it was like super like generic and I knew that there was really not a lot of updates that needed. It was just like information that was going to be searched and it was going to be found and then consumed. And if it was probably with an ad network versus it being affiliate commissions through Amazon, because that stuff can change a lot more. But I would like to see some growth potential. I would like to see some growth potential. Would you evaluate a website differently if you were going to buy, improve, and flip? How long would you hold it max? Well, that's kind of what I would do anyway, right? So this site right here, let's say that I said, okay, we're going to hold this thing for, I don't know, 18 months to 2 years. And in that time, we're going to work towards getting the revenue from $1,200 to $4,000 or $5,000, let's call it. And then what I would do, see, I've got this, let's just say it's $5,000 a month. For a year, that's $60,000, 3x multiple with 180,000, right? So if I could buy this for 40,000 and in 2 years flip it and sell it for 180,000, that would be a great investment, right? And that would be a great thing to do. And then take the 180 and you can buy a bigger site if you wanted to, or buy 2 more sites. So I think it just depends. Right now, what I would probably do with this site is I would buy it and hold it and build it out. But this would be a piece of real estate that would pay itself, right? Pay itself off, even though I invested my own money in it. It would pay, back the loan, if you will. And then in 2.5 years, it would be free and clear. But what I would try to do is I would try to get it paid within a year. That would be my goal. I'd be like, all right, in the next 12 months, I want to increase the revenue to get this paid back so it's free and clear in 12 months. And then after that, we own the property and now we build it out. And we've now doubled our income or something like that. All right. Let's see. You should invent a Carfax for websites. Software investigates, vets, and publishes red flags and categorizes it in green, yellow, and red. That is a great idea. Couldn't you build a fresh site that's squeaky clean from ground up for less than 39,000? You probably could. But again, the way I'm looking at it is it's already done, right? So you are paying more, but to be quite honest with you, if you took a site without those backlinks, so those backlinks are helping that content. I think it said it had like 65 or 70 articles on it, right? So if you were to take those 70 articles, if you didn't write them yourself, you would probably spend, let's call it $3,000 on getting those, okay? Created. That's all it would take. But to get those to rank, you would need the backlinks. So how do you get the backlinks? Let's say you would do a backlinking strategy, kind of like they did, but you wouldn't use a private blog network. You'd have to do outreach, and then you would have to get those backlinks over to increase the amount of traffic that they're getting, because Google is basing the ranking off of the backlinks. So then we got to look at time. How long does it take you? How long do you wait, right? So for me, it's a matter of shortcutting that. So could you build a site, make it squeaky clean, and do this exact thing? Yes, you probably could. It's going to take you longer. But you totally could. You totally could. Gio says the episode was great. I'll watch it again. Awesome. Let's see. Is Amazon the only affiliate site you use, or do you recommend other sites like ClickBank or Share a Sale? No, any of those. If the product makes sense. Don't just find a product and go, oh, I want to promote that product because it's got great commissions. You have to go on these other affiliate networks and find products that work. And some markets are going to be better for ClickBank than others, right? So you have to play with that. If you go to ClickBank and you find digital type products, you are going to have more revenue. I found a private affiliate program for one of the case study brands that we're building, and I'm starting to promote that now. That one there, I think for every sale, and I think it's recurring, is like $16. So it's a recurring thing. And so I found that just by doing affiliate offers for niche, right? And then I found it, I applied, and it made a lot of sense. And now we have them on our site. I don't know if we'll make any sales from it. We'll let you know inside the academy, and I believe, Michael, you're in the academy. But yeah, so no, it doesn't. And again, that's a great point that you bring up, because let's say that this site, I bought it and I found that there was a private affiliate network that if I sold hoops, they would pay me $100 a hoop. Well, on Amazon, you're probably not getting $100 a hoop, right? So we can immediately increase our revenue by just finding a better affiliate offer, right? So there's a lot that you can do there as well. So, all right, I think that was it. Any last minute questions before we wrap this up officially? And then we will get rocking and rolling. And guys, let me know this. Whether you're listening to this on the podcast, you can always email me, scott@brandcreators.com. Would you like me to do more of these? Because I'm looking at sites all the time. Would you want me to do more of this, where I break down, I find a website, I consider if I'm going to buy it or not, or even if I'm not going to buy it, just where I'm kind of going through it and finding and exposing these niches and showing you how they're making money, how they can improve it? Would that be useful if I did more of these? Maybe even publish them on YouTube. I don't know. I'm playing around with that idea. I'd love to know what you guys think. Okay. Question. So basically, next step is to determine if backlinks are gray or black hat. Yeah. And also, how long has the site really been active? Because it says 4 years, but yet I'm only finding, and I'm using Wayback Machine. It's a free service that you can do. You can do it on just about any site. And you can see when it takes snapshots of the site as it's kind of been brought on the internet. Michael says, yes, so we can make our sites better for future exit strategies. Absolutely. Right. If I was to take this and add an email list that gets emailed every single week, if I put a digital product in here, if I increase the revenue through affiliate offers, if I was able to increase my traffic and get my RPMs to where I'm getting more now, like all of that stuff, 100%. If I got Pinterest traffic coming in now, an investor is going to look at that like less risk, right? And it's going to sell faster and it's going to sell for more. So 100%. Salama says, yes, please do more. Loved it. Also, please do an Etsy breakdown. Yeah, okay. I might do that. Yeah, it's interesting because the tips help us on our blogs. Exactly. That's the point here. That's the point. And Ruth says, yes, this niche site review was very helpful. Awesome. All right. So that sounds great. That's what we'll do. Again, if you're listening to this on the podcast, that's what we do here. We do things like this. We work on building our brands. Monday, we do Monday Mindset. Fridays, we do Friday Jam Sessions, which is where we can answer all of your questions. But Wednesdays are usually stuff like this, either a strategy or a case study that I uncover, or just some tips and tactics that we can use inside of building our brands. So again, if you're interested, head on over to takeactioncrew.com and head on over to brandcreators.com. There's a lot of free resources over there as well. Been publishing a lot on YouTube lately, doing a lot of whiteboard trainings. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, take care, take action, have an awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.